Have you ever set a goal that you really wanted to achieve, but after just a few days you feel overwhelmed and lost, so you just end up quitting? I know I have. And maybe you're like me, you hate the fact that you can never seem to stick through with a goal. Even though you really want to, even though you're motivated at first and you really want to change, you can never seem to stick through with it. For the longest time, I thought my problem was discipline. I thought if I could just eliminate everything else and only focus on my goal, I would be able to achieve it. But every time it would just lead me to feeling burned out and in a deeper hole, feeling sorry for myself. The real problem was this. I was trying to change my whole life at once. I would set big goals with huge expectations, and when I couldn't keep up, I would think that I was a failure. But I knew there had to be a better way, a way to live to actually achieve my goals. So I began researching, looking for it. The solution to my problem wasn't in doing more. It was actually in doing less, but doing it consistently. Small steps, tiny actions taken every single day. Because success doesn't come from one gigantic effort, it comes from small steps that compound over time. Let me give you a simple picture. Imagine you're walking down a straight road today, and after 10 minutes you stop because that's all the time you had. But then tomorrow you pick back up and you walk another 10 minutes starting from where you stopped at. And again the next day you do it again. After a few weeks you would be miles from where you began. That's how change works. It doesn't happen in big leaps. It happens with small steps. And that's where myself and so many other people go wrong. We only think in the big efforts and we completely discredit the small steps. So because I don't have the time to run 5 miles today, there's no point for me to walk 10 minutes. But in doing that, I'm not only missing out on the value from the 5 miles, I'm missing out on the value I could be getting altogether. And this realization completely changed how I approach life. I started to understand the saying that only shooting for great stops you from getting the good. And I also realized that if you continue to stack the goods on top of each other, eventually they will be better than the great. Because we can only sprint for such a long time before we exhaust ourselves. But we can take small steps every single day. And those small steps add up a lot more in the marathon of success than the distance you get from that small sprint. You don't just wake up one day disciplined. You aren't suddenly confident. You don't appear in success. There are things that come from habit. There are things that come from the consistency that you put in. And once I understood that, I stopped trying to make the big changes in my whole life in one moment. I started making the small steps that actually mattered. Let me give you an example from my own life. I used to wake up late and stay in bed scrolling on my phone. Then I would jump from TikTok and YouTube back to TikTok. And then I would waste hours on video games. And at the end of the day, I would get in bed and I would be angry with myself because I had just wasted the whole day and got nothing done. I knew I wanted more from life, but every single time I tried to fix it, I went for the extreme and I never stuck through with it. I would tell myself, I'm going to start waking up at 5 a.m. I'm going to go on runs every day. I'm not going to get on YouTube or get on TikTok for the whole day. I'm only going to grind. And I really meant those things. But when it came down to the execution, I might show up for a day or two, but then I wouldn't do it again. And I would feel like I was a failure because I wasn't sticking through. So then I would just fall back even deeper into those comfort habits. The reason I would fail was because I wasn't creating a system. I was running purely off of that 3 a.m. motivation of being angry and hating my life. But then when I would wake up the next day and I was in that warm, comfortable bed, I didn't want to get up and run anymore. I didn't want to only put in the work and not enjoy myself on YouTube or TikTok or playing video games. When the motivation was gone, I didn't want to put in the effort anymore. So instead of trying to change my whole life, I came up with one rule to follow. Take a step small enough you can't fail. Instead of telling myself I have to read for the next hour, I would say, let me just read one page and see what happens. Instead of saying I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. every day, I would say, let me wake up and not get on my phone first thing in the morning. That's all it takes is these small, consistent improvements, and you continue to build on them. It's crazy for me to look at my life now. I wake up at 6 a.m. every single day when I really don't have to. And just a year ago, I was waking up at 1 p.m. But that didn't happen overnight. It wasn't just from one decision. It has came slowly in increments that have compounded over time. And there's the truth that most people don't realize. Consistency beats intensity. You don't need to be extreme. You need to be reliable. Your mind needs to learn that you're going to stick with something. When you say that you're going to do these extreme things and you don't stick with them, you're losing trust for yourself. And the next time you say you're going to do it, your mind's not going to believe you. But stacking the small wins, you begin to build that trust with yourself. You start to believe it when you say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to change that. And that confidence carries itself into every area of your life. Most people understand compounding when it comes to money, and it works the exact same way with your actions. If you save a little bit of money each month, you know eventually it'll get to a bigger amount. Every small workout builds your body. Every page of a book you read, you gain knowledge. Every time you make a choice to have discipline, it builds your character. But the problem is most people think that since they can't see results, they're not there. But that's not true. They are happening. They're just in the background. And after a long enough time, after you are consistent and stack enough of those small wins, they are going to reveal themselves. And you'll be able to look back just like I do and say, wow, look at how far I've come. Well, how can you actually apply this? Well, let me give you a simple system that you can follow today. Step 1, pick an area of your life you want to improve. Not 10, not 5, just 1. Maybe it's your health. Maybe it's your career. Maybe it's your confidence. Whatever it is, just pick 1. Step 2, shrink that action. Make it so small that it feels too easy. For example, 5 push-ups, reading 1 page of a book, cleaning 1 little part of your room. Just so small and so simple that you know that you can do it. And step 3, do it every single day. Some days you may do more, but the important thing is that you do it every single day. You may think that this is too simple to work or that it's pointless if you don't see the results in the first week, but I promise you, if you are consistent, if you stack this week after week, the results will come and it will change your life. Look at me, for example. 4 months ago, I was fat, but from showing up for myself every single day, taking the tiniest of actions, I've lost over 30 pounds. Now I'm in the best shape of my life. This stuff does work, and I am proof of it. So if you feel stuck right now, if you feel overwhelmed and lost, and you really want to change, but you can just never seem to figure it out, I want you to remember this. You don't need to change your whole life today. You just need to take 1 small step, and then again tomorrow, and then again the next day. Because your race to success is completed the same way a marathon is, 1 step at a time.